been a quiet day here in the shop. A lot of family errands to run and things like that. I snuck in a little bit of time to work on these planter boxes that me and the kids are making for my wife for Mother's Day. But I just wanted to update on actual work I got in the shop done today. So not much, but I've got this little frame of timber strand done. You can see right here, let me move this out of the way. I'm moving this thing out of the way. You can see right here I've got all my wires here and my fuse box. I was not thinking when I had the fuse panel installed, and I had it installed too low, but that's another story. So when I was padding out the wall, if we go down here, you can see how I've padded out the wall. This is the original framing, which beyond the fuse box in both directions is infilled with polyisocyanurate insulation. And then on top of that framing, I've added a 2x4 timber strand and packed that out with polyiso and the spray foam to bring the total wall thickness, the insulation, to 6.6 inches, which gets me to our 40 super insulation value. But I can't do that here because of all the cables you see running there and down here. So what I've done is, if we come up, I've managed to slip 1-inch foil face polyisocyanurate behind the cables and fill the gaps there with spray foam. And where the wires run through the sill up here, they're all spray foamed. But I can't just bury this behind a piece of insulation, because if I ever want to run cable again, I'm going to need to get into this bay. So what I did here is I framed it out with more timber strand, and I made a box. And what I'm going to do is run the plywood sheeting. You see I got the first piece over there. It's actually OSB. I'm going to run the OSB and kind of center it on this piece. I'm going to make another piece of OSB that fits over this frame here. On the back face of that piece that fits over the frame, I'm going to attach 3.3-inch polyisocyanurate, so the door essentially will be insulated. I'm probably going to stick some weather stripping around the frame to gasket it, and then I'll put that piece on with the insulation attached, and I'll sink it in with probably 4 screws, just enough so it doesn't move. I'm not going to hang any weight on it. And when I need to run cable, I can just pop out those screws and pull it off. So this is essentially the receiver frame that plywood panel, that insulated plywood panel, is going to fit on top of, so I can access these wires. The next task is to make a similar frame down here to expose these wires. Here I've got the added function of this little mess of wires here gets an outlet. So I have to figure out how I'm going to build that outlet into this thing. I'll probably attach the outlet to the side of this frame and then notch the plywood, but yeah, not a big deal considering where we've gone from here. But I got to box this out, make the same panel, and then I have to come up with something for the panel itself. And here I think I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I think I'm going to make a hinged door. It's going to be hinged on this side, and I think I might go down to 1/2-inch plywood and insulate it and make it much more complicated than it needs to be. But anyway, so we're continuing to slowly work through the framing, and the shop progresses. With any luck, by the fall, the summer, I don't know, God knows when, but hopefully this year I'll get to work on the bench again. So that's where we stand now. Here is the finished upper frame so that I can access the wiring after I insulate the wall.